Mitchell is an African warlord. Mitchell is, in fact, Coney 2012. So, we're now on a boat with our child army. We have no idea where to go. Fuck, that is such a weird thing to write down in the script. What the fuck? So, we run around the boat until, for whatever reason, we hit the sleeping quarters of our child soldiers, and then we get our first cutscene of this chapter of the video.
I just don't understand why it's such an important thing.
The captain needs to see it.
The captain needs to see what?
Was gone, now it's back. A gift for the captain. Do you recognize it?
And for whatever reason, Gordon's crowbar was also in the water near the ship. And for some reason, everyone on this boat knows that Mitchell has massive problems with crowbars. Does he hold like therapy Tuesdays where they all get in a talk circle and talk about crowbars? I don't know, because was it a bedtime story he told his child soldiers?
We meet again at last.
You.
Authority, power, and time. We have kept our promise, Mr. Mitchell. We gave you all the treasure you could possibly ask for.
That wasn't treasure, it was a curse! All this power...
This new take on G-Man is the funniest shit I've ever seen. He legit just seems like that kid we all knew back in high school that you like borrow $1 off of, and he would come collecting a year later.
Captain, whoever it takes, whatever it takes, however long it takes, that was the deal, and now the time has come again.
It's just so strange that G-Man is now actively taking the piss out of Mitchell, and like, as far as we know, Mitchell hasn't heard from the G-Man in 20 years at this point.
We require your services. We need you to kill Dr. Freeman.
Yes! It is time to do the titular action of killing the Freeman.
All of the suffering, it's the Freeman himself.
Take it all back. I don't want it. I don't want the power, the authority, not even the time. I just want it to end. Freeman could go to hell.
Sadly, I have to inform you, it's not that easy. You see, Captain, from now on, our agreement is coming due. We've done our part, and now it's your turn to do yours.
Or else?
Then I have no option but to let you get in a battle that you have no chance of winning. Now, pardon me. I have to take this back to its owner. Do not be late. City 17 awaits.
Alex,
Yes, Captain.
assemble the men.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We basically go from that cutscene directly into another one.
Captain, what's going on?
We have to go to City 17.
City 17? But why?
Gordon Freeman is back. Somehow we have to find a way to reach the Combine and convince them to side with us so we can hunt down Freeman together.
Whoa, slow down. Reach the Combine? Gordon Freeman? Captain, are you mad? You hear what you're saying?
Yeah, me too, buddy. Mitchell's master plan for taking down Freeman is to literally join a group of literally genocidal aliens just so he can kill a guy that hit him with a crowbar some 20 years back. I think it's fair to say that Mitchell actually peaked in Black Mesa.
I'm well aware of what I'm asking, Nick.
Mitchell, even if that was true, you know what that means, right? People will die. Are you willing to lose everything we have?
Everything we have. We don't own anything, Nick. We just borrowed it. Even our own lives. We weren't meant to live this long.
Oh my fucking god, the fucking edge on this cunt.
Killed. We've survived for 20 years on this ship, and every single time we step foot on that land, too many innocent lives are taken. Those kids you took, didn't they have enough? You don't care for any of them, do you? You never did. Just used them. Do what the hell you gotta do. But I'm not gonna be a part of this. God help us.
No. God will stay away from this one.
He's legit using children that he's trained for 20 years as cannon fodder. He legit thinks in his head that he is the main character. He is written as someone who actually thinks they're the main character. It is so fucking absurd. The golden plan is to use the only people he's known for the last 20 years just so he gets a chance to beat Freeman. Remember the Diamond Dogs from Metal Gear Solid 5? Well, what if Mitchell was Big Boss? Yeah, that's what this cutscene's recreating. It's the scene where Big Boss paints the soldier's ashes onto his face. It's that cutscene, but this time Big Boss just likes the feeling of ash on his skin. It's not an emotional moment, it's just a very weird kink. The slow motion in the scene is really trying to tell us that this is a big moment for Mitchell, for the narrative as a whole, really. But it's just more of the dev jerking himself off.
My men, for more than a decade we fought together. We bled. We took lives, and we lost some dear to us. We did what we had to survive. We knew no sin, nor honor. Long ago, I knew this day would come. The day we would have to face a bigger threat.
Apparently, Freeman is a bigger threat than the interdimensional space army that is the Combine.
The day we would have to make a choice. Until this day, we have lived our lives freely, but there is a hard truth we must now face. Sooner or later, the Combine will drain the ocean completely, and there will no longer be any place for us to hide anymore. It is time to take action, time to pick a side. When kings fight for their thrones, they sacrifice the ones they deem unworthy. I am not a king, nor royalty. Today I stand with you as one of your own. I ask you, my brothers, to fight with me and show them who we are, what we are capable of, our strength and resolution, our bullets and our blades, our courage and our cruelty. Gentlemen, we are going to City 17.
I do love how Mitchell doesn't tell his men that they're going to become part of the Combine now. He just avoids that. Like, they don't even know why they're going to City 17. Like, they have literally no frame of reference to why they're going there. They just know that Daddy Mitchell declared it so. We jump onto a train in some random clearing that we have no context for, because yes, we jump from that cutscene to here. So, I guess we're really gonna do this, aren't we? We are really about to walk into an asset-flipped version of City 17, beat for beat the same map from the opening of Half-Life 2. The only real change is that it's worse in nearly every way. We don't get an introduction to the city from Breeny. We don't get to hear chitter-chatter between NPCs. We don't even get the famous pick up that can scene. We just get a shallow imitation of the game that Hunt Down the Freeman is trying so hard to imitate. And this wouldn't be so bad if this wasn't set in an exact replica, if not the exact same map as the Half-Life 2 opening. But let's ignore that. Let's focus on what Hunt Down the Freeman brings to the table. Well, we know we're here to get the Combine on our side somehow. And I wasn't sure how we would do that, and It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but we have to get their attention first. And we do that by, well, you'll see in a moment. Mitchell says to this random guy,
There he is. I should give him the signal. Now it's your turn, Will.
and this guy that we call Will goes up the queue a little bit. So I followed him, because in my mind, he's going to distract the Combine so that I can get through. But, well...
Goodbye, old friend.
Yeah, he's a suicide bomber. Mitchell just killed off one of his followers because I legitimately don't know why. Mitchell even had the audacity to say goodbye, old friend, as he blew up. Like, it's another one of those, I mentioned it earlier, but death is how a beginner writer tries to pass off emotional moments. Like, I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who Will is. We have no context. So much like the captain, it's a cheap death that means nothing. But, hey, we're in City 17 now. So, I guess that's that. Let's get more of the Combine's attention. So we start out this next section with Mitchell declaring that we should...
I should be more careful around here.
Interesting, considering what the entire goal of this entire section is, plus our follower just did a suicide bombing at the City 17 main station, but whatever. We wander around, because once again, there's zero idea of what I'm doing until we hit this slightly differently textured edge, of which we can climb up and now we're inside a building. Which gets us past a Combine checkpoint and lands us in between two more of them. We get pinged by a turret and now we're in a chase scene, I think. I think it was meant to be one. None of the Combine actually seem to care that we're here, despite the turret shooting at us just a moment before. And in the street over, we even witness a citizen being murdered, and Chad Mitchell doesn't seem to emote about it at all. We eventually find this random building and stumble into the middle of a Combine raid, but it would be hard to know that, as the man holding the door doesn't seem to be stressed by it. Neither is Mitchell, or the soundtrack, or anything. It's actually a very quaint little scene, honestly. And now, we're in a chase sequence. Finally, some blood-pumping excitement in my Half-Life game. We get a helicopter shooting at us. We even get what I can only assume is a callback to Thomas Anderson's office job in the first Matrix movie. It's kind of everything that Hunt Down the Freeman should have had by now. Like, it's a very decent attempt at a good sequence, to be honest. It needs music, it needs a tighter sense of direction, but it does ultimately work. My biggest complaint for this area is really just the last bit. You're being chased up and down an apartment block by Combine, and there's no way out. There's no weapons to fight back with, so eventually they will just catch you. And that's the point of this sequence. You're meant to be captured. It's a forced death. Which is somewhat confusing, because yet again, it does work. Like, it's a decent idea to do it, but it's so easy to hide from them and get away from them. So it feels like you're meant to, but you're not. You're meant to get hit. You're meant to get captured, which we alas, in the end we do.
Get your hands off me.
The Combine take us to the Citadel for some reason, because that's where the Combine take all their prisoners. Not Nova Prospect. The Citadel, the source of the Combine's power in City 17. Because, I mean, yeah, at this point I should just take whatever the game does as fact and canon. But it's cutscene time now.
I knew this day would come. I knew I was going to see this man one more time.
Boris.
I would argue that Mitchell shouldn't remember Boris after 17 years, but Mitchell also has an army of child soldiers, so maybe logic doesn't really apply anymore.
Mr. Mitchell.
It's been a long time, old friend.
It has been indeed. Normally, I would ask you to excuse my curiosity, and question why you are here, why you show up after all those years while being far away from the eyes of the Combine. But I already know the answer. I know he sent you. Our mutual friend.
Wait, you know him?
Know him? He offered me a deal, and when I refused to complete his deal, he threatened me with my own daughter.
Oh yeah, a plot twist. Boris is in a position of power because of G-Man. And I bet no one in the audience saw that one coming.
Just be careful, Mitchell. He's a no-good, lying son of a bitch! Excuse my behavior.
The reason I came here was to offer my help. I want to collaborate.
And why do you think the Combine will agree to your help? What could one man possibly give them? Please, do not misunderstand me. I do not underestimate you. I know what you are capable of. But how will you prove that to them?
I'm not alone. I have a ship and an army, and I'm ready to hand over all of it, to be placed under the Combine's command.
That is a rich offer indeed. Please, excuse me for a little while.
So Mitchell is going to give up everything he has and ever will known and has known and all that shit just so he has a chance to kill Freeman? I also want to point out just how stupid it is that Mitchell and Boris believe that the child soldier army is actually that good of a bargaining chip. I mean, let's be honest, it's at most 40 or so people. The Combine have thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of civil protection grunts to throw at Freeman. What difference could a whole bunch of less capable and indeed less controllable grunts actually do? Probably nothing, but this game wants Mitchell to seem like a character that is sacrificing everything so that he has a chance to fight his past. A past that is now 20 years prior. And like, Freeman only occupied like, at most, a few minutes of that past as well. Like, you would think that the species that annihilated everything that like he ever knew would be the bigger focus and threat to Mitchell. But no, it's this random fuck in a HEV suit. What, because he gave you scars, big boy? It's such a weird decision for the writers to make. Oh, and this bit here, like this little section, we literally wait 40 seconds. That's the whole bit. We just wait for Boris to come back.
Thank you for your patience, Mr. Mitchell. You know what they say. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
So that means we are hot on Gordon's tail.
Find Freeman.
We already know where he is hiding. You remember, my Sasha, my daughter. She's in the Resistance. As a spy, I will make sure that if she sees you, she will recognize you.
We also know we're going to get a strange cutscene of Boris's daughter Sasha down the line a little bit.
Whatever you do, do not, I repeat, do not harm her, or I will kill you.
Sounds like a deal. So you do know where Freeman is?
Correct.
Where is he?
Black Mesa East.
Huh. Black Mesa.
So yeah, we're joined up with the Combine now, and we're part of the party that crashes Black Mesa East in Half-Life 2. And well, it's time to kill the only group left on the planet that is fighting against the Combine, all because of a silly grudge. So we, our child soldiers, and the Combine all charge into Black Mesa East, slaughtering the Resistance. For the most part, it's an easy fight. There is an early part where our first squad gets wiped out by a mounted gun, and we even get the ability to flank using this vent. It's a cool moment, and something that is so utterly unique in the game at this point. We even get to kill some Vortigaunts, and if you can remember, they can also wreck a car, so you better watch out. But, weirdly enough, they die super easily. So, it's very underwhelming, but in saying that, this is a combat-only sequence, and this is where the game shines. And, As a Half-Life fan, I really quite like the idea of playing as like a combined civil protection officer and storming resistance outposts and whatnot. Like, that could be cool. You could easily make that like a semi-procedurally generated SWAT 4 mod or something. I don't know, it should be a thing if it's not already, but that isn't what this is. This is us fighting the golden boys and girls of the human race so that we can kill a guy that hit us a couple times because we shot at his friends. Because, also, this is a very fun fact here. This sequence for me was undercut with the sound of a model fading in and out of the ground. It makes this noise that is present in every clip I got out of this level. So, sorry about that, you just have to deal with it. Later, we even get to see the lab where the game meets up in Half-Life 2, but the door that Gordon and Alex take is sadly broken, so you have to go around. But, regardless of cool moments, this whole section is just room after room after room full of enemies. It doesn't change or really do anything different. There's no puzzles or set pieces apart from that first bit. It's kind of disappointing that we don't get to see any of the actual characters from Half-Life 2. Like, if I made this mod, I would have found a way to bring Dog back so Dog could show up and throw like a barrel at us or something. But no, we don't even get a gravity gun, even if just for a brief puzzle section. It's wasted potential on nearly every level. Like, I like combat. Don't get me wrong, I love a good shooter, as you can probably tell from my channel at this point. But combat gets old quickly when it doesn't have flair or flavour, which sadly Hunt Down the Freeman just doesn't. So surely you remember the genius that was the zombie sandbox of Ravenholm. Well, this isn't it, Chief. This is a large open chamber filled with zombies, no gravity gun, no puzzles, no environmental ways to take out zombies, just a swamp. And endless hordes of fast zombies, much like that early game stage. And we even get a shotgun. It's, you know, a nice double barrel assortment, and does a lot of damage to everything. It looks nice, feels alright, and sounds okay. And you may notice from the background video that I'm not even trying to explore or kill anything. This is about the point where I mentally checked out and just wanted to finish the game. Because, well, there isn't anything to do in this area other than follow the poorly directed path. We get ferried through a couple buildings, we get some health, shotgun shells, and then we immediately get thrown into the not swamp. But instead, some sort of front garden for a large estate manor looking thing. Could even be a Colombian drug dealer's humble abode. God knows. Anything could happen in not Ravenholm. We enter through the basement door and we encounter this area's glaring problem. Hunt Down the Freeman doesn't have a flashlight, and pretty much all of this house is shrouded in darkness, so we can't see. And it's also full of zombies. We do get a flare though, just the one, so that'll help, but it doesn't fix the problem. And why does this bridge break when we just came from downstairs? It's just a fucking weird decision. This building though is at least laid out in a way that makes sense. It's not confusing to navigate, other than the lack of light of course. But that can be fixed with the flare, and by using the shotgun to also light the way by expending ammo. I did, sadly though, lose my flare under a table at one point, so it isn't a perfect, solution by any means. And in this same room, Mitchell also randomly just says stuff.
What the fuck? Alright, I admit it. This is a bit creepy.
So I think I missed something, or maybe this was the first room I was meant to go into, which doesn't make sense because you enter from the basement. Why would you enter the room on the opposite side of the room? It's so dumb. I also, as is very common in this game, have no idea what I'm meant to be doing. I gather that the idea is I'm meant to go into this house and then leave the house through the other side, but there's no back door. There's simply no way to progress, which is obvious. And this is more of a me issue, but I never noticed the rope that pulls down the attic door and ladder combo. I kind of just assumed this house didn't have an attic, which is kind of my fault, but also it's poorly directed, so I don't know, it's up to the audience I guess to, tell me which one that one is, but just be careful with the door, because the door will land on top of you and kill you. It's very common. It happened to me twice or maybe even 3 times. I don't know, but we kind of go upstairs and then we leave out through the back of the house, go across a bridge, which is a a weirdly random, almost handmade bridge. And then we enter Father Gregorius church graveyard, and we are hot on the heels of Freeman. We are mere seconds away from him. But using my mad gamer skills, I dodge through the horde of zombies and I make it to the exposed catacombs, which turn out just to be a sewer. We emerge onto the streets of City 17 and experience some okay game design. Our literal boys are pinned down by a mounted gun and we have to use our big brains to deduce that we can flank the gun. So we take it out, we run a lot actually. We even get to shoot a resistance fighter. I am also very sure that the way that Mitchell holds the revolver is the same way as Russian Ocelot from Metal Gear. And then we end up in a pit. So it turns out that pit was actually an antlion nest, so it's time to venture deep underground. Wait, do you hear that? It's Freeman! Finally, we're getting closer. But first we have to brave a few hundred antlions in yet another sequence that is from Half-Life 2. But this time it lacks any of the unique flair that Valve brought to the table. The caves that we're in don't feel impressive. They aren't abandoned mines or resistance underground highways, they just feel clean. For example, the floor is literally smooth. It should be rocky and uneven, we should be jumping over holes. But we're not. We should be crawling through tight passageways. We do that once, however. But we just get a corridor shooter where antlions pop up in front of us. A level set in some caves has the potential to both be epic in scale and tiny and filled with tension. It is a relatively easy idea to get right. If they just removed whatever the fuck we're walking on, this weird sand shit, this level would be much more engaging. But in saying that, I guess that they need it so the antlions can spawn from it. So why not just have sand pits like Half-Life 2 did? Like, it is a godsend that the antlions are not as beefy as human enemies, because we would not have enough ammo for this sequence. Especially considering we don't get refills at all, and we're still recovering from killing zombies with 10 minutes. Some ammo would have really been nice here. And that only gets worse when you consider we also have to kill an antlion queen as well. And to be fair, the queens are pushovers, they're slow and easy to trick, but I still could use more ammo. This is a Half-Life game, not Metro Last Light. This queen fight is strange because we also have the grubs all over the floor to heal us, so it's impossible to die here because of it. I also think that the queen's AI gets confused by them. It would seem like it would stop attacking mid-attack or mid-charge. And to make matters worse, because of the shortage of ammo, I literally have to knife it. And then after we're done with it, we have to use the parkour system to get out. But it glitches out on the last ledge, so I had to do like a triangle crouch jump to get out. If only the features listed on the Steam page actually worked in this game. But then again, to be fair, Hunt Down the Freeman does do the next bit right though. We do get some of that aforementioned epicness I wanted. A large open room with a combined drop pod thing. There's even some ammo, although I have noticed an overall problem with the game now. You don't know what ammo you pick up when you pick up ammo. There's no icons or HUD elements to tell you. This scene ends with us diving for like literally minutes. I thought it was a dead end, so I just kind of started to give up hope, but then it is where you're meant to go. It's just a weird decision yet again. I do like how every now and then we can tell that an actual level designer did some work. This little part here is actually pretty good. It looks good and it feels like Half-Life. While I'm not too big on the pipes or the shimmying, it's not a terrible way of navigating it, and it does add something new to the Half-Life formula if it was done properly. And like, in this part here, the game also uses an exit sign to denote the wrong way to go. Surely that's just basic design principles, right? And they fuck that up. Like, my hope in this game... Like, my hope in this game is already so fucked. And then they fuck up these simple things. I'm losing any ounce of hope and respect I have for this game. And mind you, we are near the end. We are very close to the end at this point. And it does not get better.